Hey everybody, Hans Finzel here.
Patrick Kelly.
Welcome back, or welcome to your first video on the Millennial Boom, helping millennials and boomers thrive together in life and work. Patrick and I are a boomer and a millennial who wrote a book together on creating respect and understanding between the generations. Baby boomers are 76 million. A lot of people don't know millennials are an even larger generation, 82 million. And in the workplace today, not only in North America, but around the world, there is conflict, tension, and friction between these two generations. They don't understand each other. We don't understand each other. We condemn each other. So, Patrick, we've had a great journey, haven't we, writing this book together over the last 3 years?
Oh, it's been a journey in the making and an adventure that we couldn't have set out the path to have an ending to. We created it as we walked.
And we have learned to work together.
100%.
That's kind of the whole point. We wrote a book together. We do some work together outside of the book, and it can be done. And for all of you companies out there, whether you're in government or education or business or nonprofit, if you're having trouble with the assimilation of millennials, especially into the workplace, you need our help.
And you need it now.
Now, yesterday. So let's just kind of give them an overview in this video, Patrick, about the book. So what's some stuff? We're not going to just go right through chapter by chapter. What are our... And we each wrote half of this book back and forth, and then I edited what he wrote, and he edited and reflected on what I wrote. So it's truly a work together.
It's both of us. It's both of us, and that's what's so fun about it, right?
Yeah.
When we go through this book, we talk about millennials rewriting the workplace. I mean, we talk about swag. I mean, it's funny. Hans always wants to have a conversation about tattoos. Okay, let's have a conversation. I'm totally okay with it. We also talk about the conversations between boomers and millennials, how I've interacted with boomers along this journey, and vice versa, how Hans has reacted and worked with millennials along this journey and what people say. We also talk about the millennial wiring. We talk about what gets Patrick up in the morning, because that's what Hans and I have been working with together, is what gets me going, what gets the millennial going.
I think it's funny, speaking of tattoos, if you've kind of gotten rid of your long hair and beard since we took the cover photo, but your tattoos are very prominent in this picture. And I was showing our book to a gentleman, a boomer, last week. I had coffee with him. And his first reaction to you was condemnation. Like,
Really?
The guy's got to be a loser. Look at all those tattoos. And I just thought, oh my gosh, you need this book, dude. You need to create, it's a typical boomer misconception. Anyway, we talk about that. Another thing I wanted to mention we talk about is the whole workplace. And here's something I've learned from Patrick. Boomers, rightly or wrongly, have been criticized by millennials as being a bunch of workaholics, right?
For sure.
And it's true. A lot of us sacrificed our marriages and our children and our family because of our work. And millennials, you kind of have a different view on that, don't you, Patrick?
It is, but again, that's why we talk about it in millennial wiring. We talk about, as the boomers say, we're slackers. I mean, you could say we've learned a lot about each other. When you see the wiring about millennials and really what gets them going, does it give you a different perception?
Yeah. And one thing I learned from Patrick and millennials in general, I mean, my wife and I have 4 millennial children. And one thing I've learned is there's not a solid brick wall between life and work. Boomers tend to go to work, but millennials, I've learned, they don't want to go to work. They would love to work from home. They'd love to telecommute. They want to take their kids to the ball game, leave work early, flex time. And a lot of boomers kind of condemn that whole approach and say, well, they don't work hard, but I've learned it's not true. That's another topic we cover in here about workaholism among baby boomers versus the millennial approach to work.
Oh, and let's not forget, we've got the "You Just Don't Get It" chapter. If you haven't seen the previous video series, we talk a little bit about the "You Just Don't Get It" as being one of my big takeaways of what the millennials would say too, is that you just don't get it. And that's one of the topics that we talk about. We go over the blank stare, right? The poker face, as we get into meetings and we don't know what to say, but in reality, on the other side, someone's feeling that exact same feeling of, well, do I speak next? Should I interrupt? Should I say something? And it comes to a point of awkwardness. And as we've seen throughout, I say, our careers, our life, is that normally the one who speaks out first is not always the smartest one. They want to say, you've got two ears, so you listen just as much than your one mouth to speak, right? And I said that a little differently how it might be said, but it's true, because we're speaking because we've got something to say, but on both sides, you're going, does he get it? Maybe I get it. Maybe he doesn't. Why isn't anybody saying anything? What is going on? And we talk about that a lot, because I get a lot of millennials, Hans, that'll tell me, well, should I just shut up and just not say anything and wait for them to tell me what to do? And I say, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Awesome. Another topic is technology. I like to say we boomers are settlers into technology. I mean, we invented, the Bill Gates and the Stephen Jobs of the world, baby boomers, who brought us technology, but a lot of boomers are not very tech savvy. But your generation are natives. You were born with technology. And we talk in our technology chapter about the millennial versus the boomer use of technology, attitude about technology. I love that chapter.
It's a great chapter too, as well. And some of the things that I think that we should also really discuss is the blast from the past chapter. Hans, that's a great chapter. I mean, if everybody can truly understand where each generation has come from, that is true success. When we can understand the settlers versus the natives, when we can understand the builder generation, the silent generation, and understand where our economy and our global economy was actually built from. I mean, that chapter, would you say, isn't that a great chapter for?
Yeah. And what we're going to be doing is doing a video on each particular chapter. Hey, another one I like is swag. You mentioned it early on in this video, but boomers don't even really grasp that word, a lot of us. And I didn't really know it very well. And my wife, when she was editing the book, she said, what does that word even mean? What does swag mean? Patrick, you wrote that chapter. What's that about?
Swag it's kind of sense of who you are and your style. There's a few how do I say, designers or out there that have made some comments on swag represents exactly who you are. So if you dress with the black trench coat on and black jeans and the chain from your wallet, you were stereotyped. You were put in a category. And so the swag is really kind of your sense of style and who you are. It's not your mentality. It's not what your mind thinks. It's just a sense. I mean, if someone was to see myself wearing this shirt, they would automatically assume that I went to Fresno State. Another person 20 miles away from me who might not go to college will wear the shirt because they like the Bulldogs, they like the breed, all different types. So that swag, like I said, it's not who you are up here. It's just a visual representation of maybe what you like, how you like, and where you're going. And as I talk in this chapter, Hans, and to every one of you, what did we say? I've changed so much over the years, and it's insane that I probably wouldn't have worn these glasses 10 years ago. But again, as my style changes, my swag changes as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important for boomers, especially speaking for my generation, to understand what swag means to the millennial generation. One other chapter that I like is the one on marriage and family, and just the different practices and views and attitudes of these two generations about marriage and family. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with work? Well, for your generation, it has a lot to do with work, doesn't it?
Everything. Has everything to do with work.
Why is that? Why do you say that? It's curious.
Well, it's just like now. I mean, I've got a schedule. I've got to pick up my daughter by 11:30. Why? Because she doesn't go to school all day. And so we blend this is I'm still working. So it just, we maintain a different schedule, different types, because our family does come first. See, and we talk about this in the book about 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. We've had so many ways of how we were brought up is we're doing things differently than how our parents did them.
Awesome. Well, that's it for this video, right?
I say so. Listen, if you haven't got the book, get it already. It'll be a lot more fun to listen to our videos and go through the book. You'll get a sense of already knowing what's going on. And heck, you might have some questions that you might be able to drop below in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And Hans, take it away. We'll see you guys later.
See you next time on Millennial Boom.